If people would like to grab a chair at any one of the tables, we're going to start in just a minute or two. Is this okay?
I think we're going to start, everyone. If we could take your seats, if you have one. We have a great crowd here. I just want to, first of all, thank you all for showing up tonight. This is a great turnout. We had a good turnout at our first session of workshops in June, but this is an even bigger turnout, and we're very happy to see that. My name is Tom Villela. I'm the project manager for the Glendale Niagara District Plan, which is a region of Niagara project, a planning project, to plan for this very large 700-hectare area that surrounds the Glendale Avenue and QEW interchange. It's an exciting time. There are some large-scale public works projects that are going on that you're going to hear about. The most important being the redesign and the redevelopment of the Glendale Avenue interchange. So surrounding that, and we know that growth is coming to Niagara. This is an area that is a strategic growth area for the region because of its location on the Queen Elizabeth Way. And it is an area that has been designated as urban for at least 3 decades. And there has been some smaller scale planning that has gone on over the last couple of decades, but no major undertaking like this. A lot of development has been occurring in a piecemeal fashion throughout the area, and we saw an opportunity here to weave it all together into a really great, complete community. We have a lot of different developers that are interested in the area, but we want to make sure that whatever development comes along is also integrated with community services, with parkland, and with proper active transportation for cycling, for pedestrians. There's opportunity for additional connections between the north and south side of the QEW throughout the district. And so that's why we're here. We had a series of workshops, as I mentioned, in June, where we started to get some ideas from the public and from our other stakeholders in the area with respect to how they see this area developing. And our consultants on the project, the Planning Partnership, who you'll hear from very shortly, took all of the ideas that we got from the first set of workshops, put it all together into this preferred development vision that we're going to present to you this evening. And there'll be further opportunity for comment from you as we go through this evening's session. I'd like to mention some of the dignitaries that are here. So far we have Betty DeCero, counselor from Niagara-on-the-Lake. Thank you for coming, Betty. I don't see any other counselors here. Do we? Okay, and we have a lot of staff here from the region. Thank you very much for coming and supporting the project. Kirsten McCauley at the back is on this project with me. And now I think that's about all I have to say. I'm going to turn it over to Donna Hind, who is our consultant on this project, and she's going to lead you through a presentation, and then we'll get into the table exercises after that.
Thank you, Tom. I'd also like to introduce my business partner, Ron Palmer, at the side of the room, who's also a partner at the Planning Partnership. I'm going to get Tom just to turn that first light switch off. Perfect. Thank you very much. The way we've organized the next little while is we're going to give you a brief presentation to describe the drawing that's on everybody's table and to connect the dots from the last time you saw us when we were here the end of June for community workshop number 1. Can I just get a show of hands of those of you who attended that first workshop at the end of June? Okay, so a few of you. I'm going to give a few highlights from that workshop and also direct you to a report that's been posted on the region's website that is a summary of that first consultation event, and it's called a vision report, and it's been posted on the region's website if you want a little bit more background of what happened at that event. Following the presentation, we're going to have conversations in small groups around the table so we can get a really full record of your comments on the drawing that's on everybody's table. So, to orient everybody, and you can kind of go back and forth between the drawing that's on your table and the screen. The outlined area in yellow is our study area. That's the Glendale District. The whole area is about 700 hectares. It's an enormous area. The area east of Homer Road is about 400 hectares. Our job is to create a vision. Our part of the project wraps up in early September. And to do that, we have many, many inputs and considerations. The first one is the team carefully reviews the existing conditions in that 700 hectare study area. We think about all the attributes of the study area and of its context. We look at various precedents for development, and many of these were reported out on at the June workshop. We listen very carefully to what people said, and I'm going to share with you the highlights from the June session. We put that together to craft a vision statement and design principles. That sets very key directions for the plan, and then we end up with the emerging preferred vision that we're going to walk you through this evening. A little bit about its context. These colored blocks are development applications that have been submitted in various forms over the last several years. So our job was partly to work with the current landowners that have development applications in various stages to, as Tom said, to make sure that the whole district was knit together with a really clear and comprehensive vision. We talked in June about how fantastic this district was to start with because it has all the raw ingredients. You have Niagara College, there is fantastic destination retail, you have phenomenal green spaces that surround this district and go through the district. There are existing residential communities, Niagara-on-the-Lake. There's opportunity for higher order transit access, and of course you have amazing highway access. In terms of accessibility, you are a short flight to Billy Bishop Airport, a relatively short train ride back into the middle of the GTA. You are a hub, a trail hub, and we recognize this every time we do a project in Niagara Region, how phenomenal it is. Here's our study area, the red block, the nexus between the Bruce Trail, the Waterfront Trail, the Greenbelt Trail, the Welland Canals Trail. Fantastic proximity to various urban centers. Here's our study area again. A beautiful setting within the Niagara Escarpment here in green. We've located some of the key points of interest along the Niagara Escarpment. So all attributes of the context that make it really easy for us to cobble together what we think is the beginning of an emerging preferred vision. We're in the middle of a well-recognized winemaking region. So when we were here in June, we asked landowners and stakeholders and residents to help us craft a vision statement. And these are some of the words that we got from the various groups we talked to over the course of those couple of days. So people talked about being important that it be a vibrant town center, that it attract a full range of businesses, that there'd be a choice of lifestyles in this district. We asked people underneath the vision statement that we would have fundamental planning and design principles that are nested under the vision statement. And we asked participants in the two-day workshop to help us with some words and phrases that should be captured in those statements of principles. And these are some of the words and phrases that they gave us. There were words about importance of views, about accommodating incubators as employment attractions, as accommodating full range of employment, about the development being sustainable and resilient, that there be connections, that there be schools. So you can see a really broad range of ideas that people brought to the table. And we asked residents in particular, why did you choose to live in this district, whether they lived along Queenston or whether they lived in Niagara-on-the-Green. And these are some of the words that they gave us about why they chose to live in the Glendale District. We asked residents what the biggest opportunities for change, more restaurants, more green space, bike lanes, a main street, support for the college, to create a complete community, to have high-rise residential. So again, a really broad range of ideas. Key words that should be captured in that vision statement: small town atmosphere, an urban center, mixed use, beautiful, open space, quality of life. So we cobbled all of the 2 days' input into this draft vision statement that says, Glendale at Niagara will be a vibrant community for people of all ages, lifestyles, abilities, that its urban districts with a mix of uses will protect and integrate the natural and cultural surroundings, that it will be framed by a new park on the Welland Canal, the creek valleys, the Niagara Escarpment, and the agricultural lands, that it'll put mobility first with a robust transit system, cycling trails, pedestrian routes that seamlessly connect both sides of the QEW. We put forward these draft design principles, that Glendale at Niagara is a complete community, it has identifiable neighborhoods, has a mix of uses, it's walkable, it's authentic, it's sustainable, and has an integrated and extended green space system. So 10 big moves, and we ended June's workshop with these 10 big moves that clearly became evident from the 2 concepts that were generated at that workshop. The first big move is to lead with the landscape and the natural features, and we're going to show you shortly how the plan on the table is framed around the natural features. The second big move was to create a seaway ecological park along the east side of the Welland Canal. A third big move was to have a hard edge of development to the agricultural lands. The fourth is to celebrate and create a hub for the convergence of the area's trails. Fifth big move was to accommodate and enhance transit. 6 is to integrate the college into the district to accommodate its expansion and create a focus for food tech industries. The 7th big move was to create a main street as a transition from the outlet collection at Niagara to the adjacent neighborhoods. 8th is to provide a diverse range of housing so that we make sure there's a range of affordability and choice. 9 is to create a distinct civic place, and 10 is to make sure that the main streets are green and accommodate parking. So out of that first workshop came 2 ideas plans, and for those of you who joined us for that event, you'll recognize this was one that included a really bold idea of a pedestrian and cycling connection to link both sides of the highway. And the second ideas plan that still incorporated the idea of a mix of uses, range of housing, range of neighborhoods, looked at variations for expansion of the college and employment uses. I want to make it clear that we're starting this exercise, the basis of which is the approved secondary plan from 2010, which anticipated and indeed planned for development in the Glendale District. A range of uses, employment uses, residential, a village center, mixed-use destination, a hospitality precinct. So we're not starting from a base condition that it's greenfield or that there will be no change. Change has been anticipated in this district for a very long time. So the diagram on everybody's table is this diagram labeled Emerging Preferred Vision, and I'm going to walk you through some of its key features. It's called Emerging because it's not done. We've spent the day speaking to many of the landowners in the study area, and we've recorded lots of notes, so we're going to be tweaking it based on their comments and based on the input that we get tonight. So think of it as a work in progress. It's hand-drawn. There's lots of room for tweaking. So the Emerging Preferred Vision, I'm going to break it apart in some of its frameworks. First of all, I'm going to look at roads and trails. So the first thing I want you to look at is the dashed lines indicate new roads, and wherever the team is planning new roads, we're planning them in a way that they're well connected, they provide choice of ways to move through the district, that they connect to the main arterial roads. In the plan, we wanted to carry forward the idea from one of the ideas plan that enhanced pedestrian and cycling connections over the QEW. So on this plan, we're demonstrating a new road connection over the QEW that includes sidewalks and cycling lanes. On the plan, we're showing the new configuration of the Glendale interchange that the Ministry of Transportation is pursuing. And you'll see on the plan in a dashed line that we are maintaining one of the highway ramps so that there is direct access north to the airport and to Niagara-on-the-Lake. We're showing a new pedestrian crossing, pedestrian overpass over the QEW for pedestrians and cyclists, and we're showing a new road underpass at Homer. When I mentioned the importance of a key direction and principle about natural features, so this is the framework for the emerging preferred concept, and we're highlighting the natural areas, the Niagara Escarpment, the lands along the Welland Canal, creek valleys, big green corridors, create an armature for the development that happens within it. One of our main ideas was to create an eco-park along the Welland Canal Heritage Park, that it would be the site of new paths, that it would preserve and enhance and expand the natural environment, that there would be heritage interpretation, that there could be boat mooring and a visitor center on the east side, that it could be a potential tourism destination area. It's a really important component of the plan is also the parks that will be created in association with new development. So these augment the natural areas that I showed 2 slides ago, and it creates a system of new parks and open spaces within the development areas. We heard the last time that we spoke to many of the residents that there was a real need for a community focus. So on the diagram, you're going to see a blue area, Taylor Road, Glendale, and this is the site we're suggesting for a community center and a new park. So the community center faces Taylor Road, and it also has a face right on a new urban park. Now that community center, there's many ways that that community center could be accommodated. And some of you in the room maybe have seen some of these scenarios where there's a community center that's embedded with ground floor retail, and then there's a community center, and then there might be residential or office uses on top. So there are many, many models for providing community centers in new communities. A new mixed-use neighborhood, this is Niagara-on-the-Green. We just labeled this Glendale Crossing, and it's showing an area for new mixed-use development that includes the full range of houses from ground contact, low buildings, to mid-rise buildings, to taller buildings. We're showing, and this will come up in another slide shortly, a main street condition that's perpendicular to Glendale. She could have ground floor retail, office or residential above, showing a couple of locations for a new grocery store in bright red, here or here. A really important part of this part of the plan is that for development along the road that's facing the new ecological park, we're purposefully planning and showing wider landscape areas along the front of those buildings so that it creates a beautiful green corridor as a transition from development to the ecological park. Green space is designed so that it extends from the green space that's in Niagara-on-the-Green, north through Glendale Crossing, through the new development to connect to the stormwater management. Niagara College, we are demonstrating expanded development on the college property. The white building is the existing buildings, the residence, and the existing Niagara College buildings. And the blue boxes indicate opportunities for new buildings. Every time we locate new buildings, we're purposefully locating them to front face and feature streets, to front face and feature public space. We're suggesting that the lands adjacent to Niagara College could be an expanded employment, business area, research, innovation hub. It could also include some tourist accommodation. We've located a new transit hub on the plan, the south side of the QEW, strategically located, we think, because it's a short walk to the mall, to the college, to the business park, to the residential community, and to the north side of the QEW. Then on the north side, along York Boulevard, we're demonstrating a number of discrete nodes of development that are clearly defined by the armature of green space, and each time we're careful to illustrate a mix of uses. So they include a mix of residential, retail, commercial, employment uses. So this one, here's Glendale Road. So we're just to the east of Glendale. The south side of York Road, we're showing new development, new employment uses, new residential uses. The east side of our study area, just to the west of Concession 7, mix of low and mid-rise buildings, mixed use along York. We're maintaining the employment lands to the north of York Boulevard, because that was something that we heard very loud and clear from Niagara-on-the-Lake Council. It was really important that those employment lands be protected. The hospitality district around the existing hotels that are at the top of Glendale. And I want to point out that on our diagrams we're showing Glendale extended north, but not all the way to Queenston. Curves to the east and connects up with, and I can't remember the name of that road. Town Line, yes, connects up with Town Line. The interchange district, where we're showing a range of uses, but it could also accommodate the Tim Hortons and the Wendy's and the gas station that's there now, but it's designed as an urban district where there's open space and there's development that's framing that open space in those streets. And then North Glendale, mixed-use development could have hospitality uses, and a variation that we explored at the June workshop was that it could also be a more major tourist destination. But there are options for that destination. It could be in the ecological park, or it could be there. So this is the diagram that's on everybody's table. I'm going to leave this one up because it has a legend that helps make better reference between what you're looking at and what it means. What our hope was that everybody would just write notes on what you're liking and not liking, if you have any suggestions for change. These are not meant to be precious in any way. Hopefully they will be covered with your notes. But we have another exercise at the back of the room where there's two same drawings. There's a number of things that are called out on the right side. And we're asking you to just put a red or a green dot in the space below, indicating whether it's a general thumbs up or a thumbs down. And it just gives us a bit of a visual of what people's preferences are for the things that we've called out in that list. So we've taped up some dots on the side, and I'm saying just red and green, so you can keep that straight when you see there's more than red and green on the little tags, but just try and keep to red and green so I can figure out what everybody's telling us when I take it away. So you know what happens after tonight is that our plan is used as the control plan for the next phase of work that starts in the fall. So this is not over by any stretch of the imagination. IBI group is taking over in September and turning the emerging preferred vision into a district plan. There will be detailed transportation studies, environmental studies, servicing studies that go along with that work. So we're here today presenting to the public. We talked to the landowners this afternoon. We're going to be making final revisions to the drawing over the next few days. We are preparing a final report that goes to the region, and then we're going to be presenting to Niagara Region on the 5th and Niagara-on-the-Lake on the 10th. And then our work wraps up by mid-September. But again, you will still be invited to participate in all the subsequent steps of the district plan that unfolds over the next 8 months from September on. So with that, I'm going to leave this on the screen. I'm going to get Tom to put those lights back on. And we've got another room set up across the hall. We've got extra copies of the plan because everybody can't fit in around the tables here. So we're going to set that other room up. I'm going to get Ron to get that set up. And then I just encourage everybody to just start in on looking at the plans. And we're here, many people from the region, and Ron and I from the Planning Partnership, to answer any questions once you start to look at it, what's making sense or not. Yeah.
My question is this: if I look at Glendale here, and you're right, exactly right, and then of course we're taking York Road, which we are very close to here, and we're moving along York Road past wineries, small businesses, and we go to St. David's. And I know that I have 50 students that were looking for home safe, and they couldn't be accommodated because there's no busing. They wanted to work. They wanted to work at Niagara College and work in the outlet mall. And the problem is they can't take a bus and hook up. Just 15 minutes away, they can't get to St. David's. And it's outrageous that we have so many people in the cannery, for example, and if they have guests, they have to take them by car. If their car collapses, they're injured, they miss their right to drive. They have children. They need to have a busing. And we are isolating the community with its wineries, with its parks, with its bike trails, and we are not, by 4 Mile Creek, connecting them to Niagara-on-the-Lake. They can't take a bus so they can hook up with Niagara-on-the-Lake.
So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to get Ron is going to just sit with you. What I want to make sure is, because we only have people for about 2 hours, and I want to make sure I hear from all 70 people in the room. So I want everybody to get started making their notes. Ron's going to sit there with you and work through that question. I'm going to set up some extra maps in the other room, and then we'll come around and take questions.
I have one overarching question.
Yeah. Having any kind of a wrap up. So after you've shared your ideas, you're welcome to be on your way. But there's no. We're here for another hour, hour and a half anyway. But there's no wrap up.
Check, check. Check.
Maybe we'll get the C-rated comp sign, because again, Donna and I, the CEO.
We were looking at a place and we liked the other place too. John, we were supposed to play in a golf tournament. It got rained out, so we came down a day earlier, and we were spending the night here anyway. So we said, well, let's just look around. And then we went to see John. Thanks, Don.
Okay. We're good? Okay, just for those of you who are watching on live stream at home, we will be posting the presentation in the early part of next week. We would love to hear your comments. You can go online to the Region's website, look for the Glendale District Plan. The email contacts will be there. Love to hear any comments that you have. Next, we'll be going to present to Regional Council on September the 5th, and then we go to Niagara-on-the-Lake Council on September 10th. Like I said earlier, this project is long from being over. Over the fall and winter, the next phase of the exercise will be underway, and there'll be many more opportunities for you to share your thoughts as the project evolves. Thank you very much for watching at home.